Hey there everybody, welcome to your tech timeline for the week of August 25th, 2013. Now this of course is the show where I break down everything awesome that happened in the world of tech and gaming this week that you might have missed. And it was a huge week with a lot of really cool things releasing and being announced, so I'm going to jump right in by talking about the D23 Expo, which is of course Disney's, basically their trade show where they show off everything that the Imagineers have been thinking up and some of the tech that Disney's been working on. In particular, I want to talk about the MyMagic Plus, which is a wearable technology that Disney's been playing around with for several years. Now, at this particular show, they actually demoed it and announced that they would be rolling it out in very small doses to select park goers to see how it operates in the wild. For those of you that don't know, the MyMagic Plus is a combination RFID and Bluetooth wearable wrist strap, basically a watch strap without the watch. There's going to be encoded with everything from your credit card information to your hotel reservations and even your fast pass queuing. Disney is looking at this as sort of a way to take the stress out of going to their parks and make it a lot more streamlined and a lot more easy of a process. Everything from buying an ice cream cone to the times that you need to be at certain rides for your fast pass to take into effect is going to be built in and be part of the MyMagic Plus. The really neat thing about these is that they're all personally coded. So each and every member of your party, all your friends, your family, everyone is going to have their very own wearable MyMagic Plus. It's going to have their credit card information and everything, like I said, but it's going to be specifically tooled for them. So you just have to walk up to whatever amenity you want to utilize. It goes ahead and reads that information for you, and you're off and on your way. The possibilities surrounding this kind of wearable consolidation are endless. And the thing that really makes me excited for it is the fact that we've been talking about wearable technology so much in the media nowadays. From everything from the iWatch, from Google's different wearable tech that they want to get into. It's really a big and a growing community of developers and things that want to see this kind of wearable tech happen. Now, a lot of people are kind of naysayers for it because they think that the iWatch and those types of things don't fill a real need because it's just going to display things like your messages or, different appointments and stuff and notifications that might crop up and just easily on that screen. But all that information is readily available on your phone. Now, if they were to roll in something like this MyMagic Plus functionality, I really think that that's going to open it up and make it broader to a much wider audience. Now, there are detractors for MyMagic Plus itself saying that it is easily to steal and that it's actually a high security risk. Disney, however, says that all the information stored on MyMagic Plus is encrypted, and they go so far as to postulate that it is much easier to steal something out of someone's back pocket, such as a phone or a wallet, than it is to actually steal something that they're physically wearing. Disney has also implemented a feature that any purchase over $50 is going to require a signature just like a regular credit card, and they seem to think that those 3 security measures and a few others that they've implemented will cover all their bases. I really do hope that they're right, and I hope this kind of thing takes off, because wearable tech is a very interesting proposition, and I kind of want to see these mergers of these different ideas so we can get really functional, really broad scope applications for our wearable tech in the future. Monday saw a crazy story about spray-on energy. Now, this is a topically applied caffeine spray that is put directly onto your skin and slowly diffuses and is absorbed into your body. I think the actual Indiegogo campaign has already smashed its funding goal, and that is what they've kind of put this on. And I think the Indiegogo has the best quote for this that really sums everything up. After months of research, we discovered we could increase caffeine's solubility 5-fold by using a simple derivative of a naturally produced amino acid, trypsin. Thus, our patent-pending technology opens up a whole new realm of possibilities when it comes to energizing as effectively as possible without all the drawbacks and side effects. That's right, guys, because there's no way that spraying energy directly into you could possibly be bad in any way, shape, or form. In all honesty, though, the science behind it, to my mind, seems pretty sound. The Indiegogo page details a lot of information about how energy drinks or any side of coffee or anything like that is just a huge burst of energy up front and then you just kind of crash. Now, their idea with this sprayable energy is that it slowly diffuses into your body. And that's going to allow you to have a much more even keel energy output than you normally would with those other kinds of drinks. Still, though, it really does kind of freak me out, and I don't know if I want to live in a future where people are just spraying energy into their faces to stay awake for another 30 minutes. It's a weird thing, but if you are interested, like I said, the Indiegogo is fully funded, so at this point you'd basically just be purchasing one for yourself. Tuesday saw NASA selling off space shuttle launch pads. This is weird for me because it's such a huge piece of history. I can't think of any kid that wasn't so excited about space travel and space when I was growing up. I don't really know so much for new generations or younger kids if it was as big of a deal, but these particular pads mean a lot to a lot of people from a broad swath of humanity. It's really a piece of our national history as well here in America. Now, these launch pads have been used from 1967 through 2010, so that's going to be a lot of your Apollo missions and a lot of just storied space history. NASA says that they're looking for buyers before September 6th, and I took a look at the actual text for it, and it kind of makes me sad because it gets this feeling of like a Craigslist ad, where they say, "Serious buyers only, please." But they don't really set a price, and they're just kind of looking for the highest bidder, just anybody who will throw some money at this. That being said, if you do have the disposable capital and a way to transport a 3,700-ton piece of machinery, then I think it's probably worth looking into. But it's just kind of a sad story, and they are, moving on, and they're getting some new technology and stuff like that, but it is just kind of weird. It's the end of an era to kind of see these being shut down and sold off. Tuesday saw a story that I really desperately wanted to cover earlier in the week, and that is, of course, the 2DS. Now, I know that everyone found out about this, so it's not really a news story you might have missed, but I originally wanted to talk about it because I had a different opinion than everyone else I seemed to see. Now, they seem to be coming around to my realm of thinking, but when I saw the announcement for the 2DS, and in case you don't know what it is a $129 3DS without the gimmicky 3D. Now, thinking about it now and explaining it that way, it does pretty much just sound like the regular DS, but it does have a lot of those extra features and the nicer form factor that they've gotten from having the technology around for so long. It's got a lot of those XL kind of improvements that they've made. Now, my first initial reaction when I saw this story, when I saw the 2DS, was that looks awesome. That was the first thing I thought. A lot of people put up stories and articles about this is serious, this is not a joke, this is a real thing. I didn't think anything like that. This is a very Nintendo move. It's not really too much of a surprise if you look at their history of just their product releases and what they do when they think that something isn't working out quite right. And I think this is a really concrete and a really good idea from them. A lot of people have jumped all over it because they say it doesn't fill a need and that it looks stupid. And even Reggie Fils-Aime himself said that it was for kids. But I think all of that is BS. I think it does fit a really real need. I personally haven't owned a DS since the very first run original DS, that big old thick one that I got, and I haven't opened it in years, literally years. But there have been a lot of cool games coming out that I have had my eye on. It's just that the barrier for entry was way too much. And I don't think this is for kids. I don't think it's made for kids from Nintendo. I think Nintendo knows what this actually is, and that's a Pokemon machine. Now, for me personally, I was looking at the new Pokemon and I was very interested. The move to polygons just seems to be tickling a nostalgic itch that I have. It's just something about the fact that it's such a drastic new change to the Pokemon formula that makes me interested in it. But I wasn't going to spend like $300 just to play a new Pokemon game. But by lowering the price to $129, they've made it a lot more attractive because there are a lot of different DS games that I've been looking at and thinking about and being like, it's cool, but it's a little too expensive. Now, it seems like everybody's kind of coming around to that realm of thinking, being like, this is a cool system and it's a cool idea. One thing that I do want to talk about, though, is that even though I don't like the Wii U at all, and I'm not a huge fan of the Wii, I will say that Nintendo is great about form factor. I have never played a Nintendo system and had my hands hurt or had myself like fumbling around for something. Now, the original stylus and the original DS was a little weird to get out and where it was situated, but other than that, Nintendo really knocks form factor out of the park. So I don't even think that it is going to be uncomfortable. People have been saying it looks a little uncomfortable, but I think that Nintendo knows enough to make a system that fills this kind of need and that is comfortable and easy to use. Nintendo knows that they have to move hardware to move software. And I think that's what this is. It's a big push. It's actually releasing the same day or the day before Pokemon. So I think it's pretty obvious what this is at this point, even if Fils-Aime doesn't want to admit it. But it's still a really cool idea, and I am actually 100% behind the 2DS. Now, on Thursday, Microsoft said that they are interested in knowing where you are at all times. When they released information, or information kind of came out, they didn't really release it, that they are interested in purchasing Foursquare. Now, I wasn't even sure that Foursquare was still a thing. Now, I used it a little bit in college. We all kind of played around with it. But I'm from kind of a small community, and it never really caught on. And there was never much of a reason to be excited about being the mayor or anything like that from like a small town standpoint. So maybe I'm just out of touch. So I guess the comment question of the day is Foursquare still a thing? If you're from a big city or urban area or a different country, if they even have Foursquare there, let me know what you think of it. Obviously, Microsoft thinks that there is something there. There's nothing concrete yet, and there's a lot of speculation as to whether or not Microsoft's even in the running for it, because Foursquare has been meeting with other companies to purchase it as well. But this is purely a profit standpoint for Microsoft. I don't think they really want integration and stuff like that. It's just that Foursquare's come out with a business model now that looks like it will make money, and Microsoft wants in on the ground floor on that action. Friday saw yet another Nintendo story. I know this is my second one, but I really just couldn't resist. In a recent interview, Reggie Fils-Aime basically said that Nintendo's over this new console generation. The competitive systems have announced their launch lineups. I'm allowed to say meh. I look at our lineup of titles, and I feel good about our lineup. We've got Zelda, we've got Mario, we've got Donkey Kong, in addition to great titles like Pikmin 3 and Wonderful 101. I feel very good about our lineup, and I feel very good about the value proposition we're putting out there for the consumer. It's just refreshing to see this kind of candid outlook on things, and I really do believe that this is how he feels about it. It's just cool to see Nintendo kind of sticking up for itself too, because they do get picked on a little bit by the big bully systems that come out with their turbocharged graphics and their super processors and things like that Nintendo's not really interested in. Nintendo's always been interested in that software production and in getting out those kind of quality Nintendo licensed games that they've always been behind. And I think it's really cool to see Reggie kind of stand up for the system and be like, those other things, whatever. Their launch lineups aren't as good as what we have. Of course, when you have a launch window that's like 90% of the year, you can pretty much say that your launch lineup was great. Saturday saw a story that I don't really even have any facts about because I found out about it and just shut down. Like, I was up just thinking about how awesome it was all night. It's a story about a little-known man you may have heard of called Keiji Inafune and what he did at PAX. Of course, Keiji Inafune is the creator of Mega Man, my favorite gaming franchise of all time. And he decided to come out at PAX and announce Mighty Number 9, which is essentially Mega Man without the Mega Man. Now, a lot of people know that Inafune left Capcom a couple years ago, or a year or two ago, under a dispute because they didn't really want to utilize the Mega Man license in the way that he saw it going. They didn't want to use it as much as he wanted to. They didn't want new games. So he was like, you know what, never mind, I'll just leave. Which really broke my heart because I do love Mega Man. And I was like, what's going to happen to these games now? What's going to happen to these titles? he went off, and I hadn't really heard anything about him or from him for a while, and suddenly he just kind of explodes out with this brand new Mighty Number 9, which he is funding through Kickstarter. This is super exciting. I mean, if you look at some of these sketches, they are basically the same sketches that were of Mega Man all those years ago. Not to mention the fact that he's got the band back together. Like, he's got a bunch of different people that had worked on that original Mega Man, and kind of a dream team ensemble that might not have worked on original Mega Man, but have worked on games in the kind of the Mega Man legacy and the Mega Man line. So he's kind of pooled all this talent together, and he is making what is essentially, for all intents and purposes, a Mega Man for a new age. I'm super excited about this. Definitely check out the Kickstarter. Check it out twice. And I would like to officially announce my own Kickstarter that is going to fund the $10,000 reward tier on his Kickstarter so that I can have dinner with my absolute favorite ever creator of anything. So yeah, that should be great, right? Just a Kickstarter to fund a Kickstarter. That is really when we've come full circle and entered into a Kickstarter-based economy. But in all seriousness, oh, if I had 10,000... I'm pretty sure I would spend it on this. That seems like a good life's work. To just be like, this is all the money I have. I think I'm going to meet Keiji Inafune. I think that's what's happening. You guys, I hope you enjoyed the episode. I was really passionate about a lot of these stories. I hope you could tell. It's been a huge week, really exciting week. The fact Mighty Number 9, insane. 2DS, God help me, I'm probably going to buy. Just a lot of really cool things happening this week. If you want to get in on the action and tell me about cool stories for next week's episode, be sure to hit me up down in the comments. Get a hold of me on Twitter. Get a hold of me in the messaging services right here on YouTube. Any way that you want to communicate with me, please let me know about any stories that you want to see next week. And also share this video however you can. It really, really does help me out as a channel, and it helps Technovolver to grow and get bigger and get better, and even support new content and even more content for you guys. And that's really what I'm passionate about. So even if you don't do any of that though, I want to thank you for watching this particular episode. Tell you that the links for every single story are going to be down in the description, so please check those out as well and support the fine people that kind of consolidated this news. And thank you so much for watching. I will see you in the future.